I'm here with my friend who recently had a birthday,
That's true.
Mr.
That's
Rich
true.
Goldstein. And you guys, if you haven't met Rich, I mean, he's like everywhere. So if you haven't met him, that means you haven't been going to Amazon events.
That means you haven't been anywhere, right?
Exactly, because Rich is everywhere. He's always so supportive of everything we do in the community. And, he's just a really great guy. And he's a pretty smart patent attorney. So we can kind of count on him for all of our intellectual property needs. But today, what we're going to talk to Rich about is actually a really interesting way of going through some of that intellectual property that has maybe expired and how you can come up with cool product ideas by doing that. And Rich, before we get into that, I would love to just have you say hello, give a little intro, tell everybody a little bit about you.
Sure, absolutely. And by the way, feel free to start sharing my slides if you like. And so yeah, my name is Rich Goldstein, and I'm a patent attorney. I've been working with entrepreneurs to help them to protect their products, protect their brands for quite a long time. And for the last several years, I've been heavily involved in the Amazon selling space, where I know you from, Amy, and and many others, and I think it's I've been working with a lot of Amazon sellers and the specific issues they've been facing with regard to IP protection. And let's see. So, by the way, are you sharing my slides yet?
I will share them. There we go.
There we go. And it's just a little bit more about me here. Just that to date, I've obtained over 2,000 patents for my clients, given advice to tens of thousands of inventors, and I'm the author of the American Bar Association's Consumer Guide to Obtaining a Patent, which really just came about from my ability to take some complicated patent stuff and put it into plain English. And they noticed that, and they asked me to write a book to do the same. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about me. And let me see if how I can get to the change next slide. So this is a really interesting topic that we're going to talk about here today. I mean, most of the time people tap me to explain how you protect your products, how you protect your brands. But this is an interesting one that I created actually for Kevin King a couple of years ago for his high-priced event, Billion Dollar Seller Summit. And so it was hatched out of that, and it was something that people have wondered about for a long time, and he had been wondering about for a long time. And I said, you know what? I'll figure out how to do it, and then we'll make a presentation. And so since then, I've presented it there, and also a couple other places, but really not many people have seen this yet. So this is special. And
Definitely.
so the topic. Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
I'm so stoked about it because I never really thought about, finding product ideas this way. And, Rich, I'm curious how many inventors, I'm in an inventor as well and in an inventors group,
Mhm.
but how many inventors that you meet never do anything with their ideas?
Well, almost all of them, which is kind of what the root of this is that there are so many opportunities out there from people that had great ideas and never really did anything with them. And then time went on, the patent expired, and now it's fair game. And so that's really the premise for all of this. And again, so the topic then, as it says, finding new product ideas from expired US patents. And there are more than 11 million issued United States patents to date, and most of them were never commercialized, as we noted, as most inventors don't bring their inventions to market. And the reason, there's multiple reasons. One is that they believe this myth that if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door, and it's just not true. You and I both know, and I think everyone here knows, that you need to put the right effort and the right marketing force into commercializing something. If you don't, it's not going to go anywhere. But too many people believe that, and they really never put the effort in. Also, many of the ideas are impractical, that's true, or they're not desirable to consumers, or there's also a lot of really dumb ideas. But, and sometimes they're just a little bit ahead of their time. Good example of that is Velcro. So the patent for Velcro here issued in 1961. And it wasn't until much later that Velcro was commercialized. It wasn't until the 80s that we began to see sneakers with Velcro instead of laces, right? And so Velcro became big after the patent expired. And so really it's free for anyone to pursue Velcro. It's just a little bit ahead of its time. And so at this point, there are more than 7 million expired United States patents. And expired patents are fair game for you to now produce. And what's behind that, what most people don't realize, is that patents cannot be renewed. Once a patent expires, then that's it. It's game over. So an inventor has a limited amount of time to pursue the monopoly in their invention. And after that, it's part of what's called the public domain, meaning that anyone can produce it. So if you find an expired US patent, you can do exactly what's in that patent, and you won't be infringing. It's not possible for you to infringe because the patent is expired. And one thing I'll just give up right up front, a little note of caution, is free to do exactly that expired patent, but you're not free to necessarily improve upon it. There isn't a safe harbor in that. So it's like, imagine that there was some type of I don't know, special can opener that was invented and patented and it's expired. But then now you look at it and you add something onto it, you make an improvement on it. It's possible that someone more recently might have a patent on that improvement. You can't say for sure just by looking at the expired 40-year-old patent, for example, to know that you can safely make that improved product. So that's an important thing to realize,
And
is that
Rich,
the patent itself is.
Oh, sorry. Real quick question. What about, patents can expire and now we're free to produce them. And you're just explaining that we're not free to improve necessarily upon that patent. But is there any way for us to protect that idea, right? Is there any way for us to apply any type of intellectual property to that idea if we decide to resurrect it and produce it?
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later too. Is that, like, here's the thing, and it might be a little technical, a little confusing, but yes, if you improve upon the product, you may be able to patent that. And just what I'm saying though is that there is a certain safe harbor, being free from infringement, when you make exactly what was patented years ago and expired. That safe harbor doesn't exist from infringement if you make changes to it. Like, you say, well, you know what, like I'm going to make this out of this modern material. Maybe it's been patented in conjunction with that modern material. So you just need to be careful about that. And I'm just saying that there's an exception from this absolute statement that, hey, if something is an expired patent, it's fair game. You just have to be careful about that one little thing. But we will talk later a bit more about how you make it your own, potentially, and maybe get your own patent. Okay, so, and here's the thing though. So a lot of inventions were never commercialized. And whether they were commercialized or not, though, the inventor still had to explain the invention in significant detail, enough detail so that someone in the field of the invention would be able to produce the invention and produce the device from the description. So the point is, like, whether they got the product to the market or not, whether they put the effort into marketing or not, they still have provided a very complete description of what the invention is and how to make it work. They needed to do that. And this is to your benefit, because if you find something, an expired patent, it's not only just like a two-sentence notion of an idea, it's a full explanation that you could then capitalize on. So then that's where the opportunity is that there's many great ideas that never made it to market. And though the difficult task is to find the good ideas in the vast collection of United States patents. And there's a lot of crappy ideas in there. And so it really, I think the big part of this is looking through a lot of material. You're going to have to weed through a lot to find those diamonds in the rough, the good ideas that then you can take and go with. So now searching for these expired patents really has three parts to it we can talk about. One is finding expired patents. Um, Second is that are in the niche, in your niche, in the area that you're familiar with, that you know how to market, that you maybe are selling other products in, and then last, that represent a good opportunity because it's a good idea. And so the first part is finding expired patents. And in order to find expired patents, you have to know when does a patent expire. So simple rule is, first of all, there are utility patents and design patents. Design is just about the look of the product. Utility patent is more typically what we think of when we think of a new invention, like something that's structurally different, that's functionally different. So generally, we're looking at utility patents when we're doing this exploration. So utility patents expire 20 years after they're filed. But they could also expire early if certain maintenance fees are not paid. And just one other little footnote here to look out for is that sometimes they could be extended by a certain number of days. And this is always going to be shown on the front of the patent. So if you find a patent and you see this notice here, subject to the disclaimer, the term of this patent is extended by 856 days. Yeah, that means that this patent is going to be an extra kind of 2.5 years longer than expected. Or so you need to look out for that one little hitch. Otherwise, you can just look to the filing date and say 20 years after that filing date, you can rest assured that the patent is expired. Okay, so that's the thing. Then finding expired patents, and then there's also design patents. Design patents. About that until the year like 2030. But for now, if you're looking at patents, any patents that are more than 14 years old after their issuance date, those are the ones which will be, will be expired, and therefore, like they can potentially be pursued. So, but the point is, like searching now in 2021, it's the 14-year rule that we need to worry about. We need to look at patents that were issued before 2007. And the key there, though, is issued. Remember that with utility patents, I just said it's 20 years from when they were filed. Design patents, slightly different rule. It's 14 years after they were issued, and eventually it will be for newer patents 15 years after they were issued. Okay. So the second part is finding patents in your niche. So if you're used to selling kitchen products, then you're going to want to find other products in that niche. By the way, my computer is making some alert sounds. Amy, can you hear those?
No, I
Do you hear
can't.
like a bong? Okay,
No, it
good. I just want
sounds.
to know if I need to turn on Do Not Disturb because I was getting like email notifications in my ear. Want to make sure it
Oh.
wasn't broadcasting.
No, it's good. It's a little bit. It seems like the internet connection's a little bit slow, but it's good to go. So I think we can keep going. I'm excited about learning about how to find these things.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, great. And so then again, it's like if you're used to selling products in a certain category, you generally want to find products in that category. If you're used to selling kitchen products, you want to sell other kitchen products, or you want to find ideas among expired patents that are in that niche for other kitchen products, for example. Um, Now, one way to find patents in the niche is you can do what's called natural language or keyword searching on Google Patents. So Google Patents, it's at patents.google.com. It's a search engine that will easily find patents for you, but it's not very precise. It's not very reliable in terms of like finding the precise idea that you're looking for. Um, but we will enhance that. I'll show you how we enhance its ability to find the right things in your category. So first of all, we've got Google Patents, and you could just type a search into the search window, like the familiar Google search window, and it will pull up a bunch of results. But as I said a moment ago, it's imprecise. So, like for example, if you're searching for can openers, you might miss an important patent if when they wrote the patent, they described it as a container cover extractor. So because it's using language, you could miss things that are the same technology, the same idea, but using different words. And that's why we use classifications. There are a series of more than 100,000 different patent subclassifications for anything you could imagine. And if you find the right classification, you then can plug that into Google Patents to find a whole group of patents that fit that category. So whether they call it a can opener or a container cover extractor, with the classification, they'll all show up, and you'll be able to look at them. So then, which means that before we get to Google Patents, the first thing we want to do is we want to find a patent office classification, and we want to use some classification searching tools at the U.S. Patent Office. So at the U.S. Patent Office, they've got these tools here, and like this is a web address that you could use to bring you to these classification resources. And basically what you want to do, and what you're doing here is you're basically searching through an index. You're searching through an index to find a category. It's kind of like a library when you used to search the card catalog just to find like, well, what is that Dewey Decimal number that would bring you to the books that you're looking for? It's not to find the precise book, but it's to bring you to the area, right? And so that's what we're doing here. So we're using these classification resources. We're going to enter keywords, and we're doing this text work, so text search. And so first I'm putting in the word asparagus peelers, or the phrase asparagus peelers, and I'm searching. And that's going to bring me to a whole bunch of different articles that may be relevant. And, here it says kitchen equipment, coffee mills, spice mills. The second item is kitchen equipment, coffee mills, beverages, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can see by the bold-faced text here that peelers and asparagus peelers showed up in some of these articles. So you click through them and you look around, and you'll get to this. And so, again, you might need to kind of rewind this and watch this just a couple times to follow it to see. But basically, what we end up with here, can you see my cursor, by the way?
I cannot see your cursor.
Okay. Well, what I was pointing at is like this first bolded string on the left, where it says A47J 9/00. What that is that's a classification, there's a space, and then a subclassification. And then to the right is a definition of that subclass. So it's like, A47J900 is asparagus or utensils for shaping. And then if you read down there, you'll see more. And then, oh, look at this one here. A47J17-00. Household peeling, stringing, or pairing implements or machines. It's sounding pretty close to something we're looking for. But actually, if we look a little bit further, it says A47J17/08. It says asparagus peelers, exactly what we're looking for. There's a whole subclass at the United States Patent Office dealing with asparagus peelers.
Wow. This is so interesting to me. And you know what else, Rich? I think that it really helps even people to search for similar patents to something that they're creating as well. this really kind of helps you navigate the USPTO database. A lot of times the reason we use Google Patents is because it's more easily searched. But by clicking on this classification and being able to kind of plain text search this way and then discover other categories, other things, I think this will help in many ways.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right, because this is the key to doing the best type of patentability search. If you have an invention and you want to find out it exists, again, like just searching like can opener is not going to tell you that the idea exists or doesn't exist, because it could very well exist with different language. So when we do patentability searches, this is where we start. We look for classifications, and then we search deeply through all the patents in that classification to see which ones might apply. And then we check a different classification and another one, and we try and cover as much ground as we can. Yeah, so like at my firm, when we do patentability research, we do it as a classification search. That's the best way to do a patent search. So yes, if you had the time and the patience, this is actually also giving you the key of how to do your own patent search, is to look for classifications and then pull up all the patents that fit in one of those classifications, look through them to see if you are finding the invention that's just like yours. Okay, but here's the key now. So then we just found this asparagus peeler subclass. That A47J 17-08, we want to save that. We want to copy and paste that. We want to maybe put that in our notes. That's the key piece of information that we've been searching for. So now that we have that, then we go back to Google Patents and we put that into the search query. But one thing we need to do is we need to take out the space between the J and the 1, because for whatever reason, Google is not smart enough, believe it or not, to figure it out if we don't remove the space there. So that's a little trick there, is you can paste in the classification directly, but take out the space between the J and the 17. Okay. Once you do that, once you put that in there, and you can see it's at the top of the window that was the search query, right? It pulls up a bunch of patents. The only thing is these patents could be from any particular time. And so on the left, we have a bunch of options. For one, we can select the patent office as US. And we also want to limit it to patents that were filed before 2001, because then those are patents that are 20 years old, right? So we want to set filing before 2001. So now what we've done is we've found asparagus patents that are more than 20 years old. And now we have a whole bunch of them. Now we pulled up a whole list of them. Here's one from 1990, another one from 1990, one from 1989, one from 1937. And now imagine, and you just kind of going through them. You're clicking on them, taking a look, and saying, is this interesting? Maybe not. Let me look at this other one. And among these, maybe you see this one. This one, here's a bunch of them, right, that I pulled up. These were all different ideas for asparagus peelers of different configurations. There's one from 1991. Here's one from 1966. And then another one here from 1975. So they're all expired. They're all fair game, but are they good ideas? And then maybe you come upon this one from 1931, which, it has like this. It seems to use like a wire loop in the front and at the side. And, I don't know if this is better than other asparagus peelers, but here's the thing. Here it is. It's an expired patent. And if you think it's a good idea, then you can just take it. You're free to just go ahead and do this. So that's the whole key to this, is that like you can search, find some ideas, think them through. Was that a good idea? And if it was, it's fair game for you to take it.
And as you mentioned earlier, Rich, there might be a situation where someone else has used a similar idea or patented a similar idea. So you do still have to do your due diligence. So let's say we decided that this was a great idea. We want to make a peeler that has one on the top and one on the side. you know, cool, interesting design. We would still need to do our due diligence and just check that no one else after this patent expired did something similar or different, right? And patented that. We still have to check for infringements, basically, on other patents, right?
Yes, but the safe harbor is that if you do exactly this, that's the point. Is that if you do exactly this, you don't have to wonder about like, okay, well, I actually added a third notch that has a can opener in it. Well, maybe somebody patented a can opener in combination with an asparagus peeler like this. But if you do exactly this, that's where the safe harbor is. That you say, well, I can't possibly be infringing because it's not possible for someone to patent the same thing over again. And this patent's expired, therefore you know you're safe when you're doing
Got it.
just this.
Where you're saying we have the thing that you said earlier about we have to watch out about improving on it because then we might have some other problems.
Right.
But as far as
Yeah,
this exact idea, we're okay with.
exactly.
Cool.
And so then here's another example, searching for pet products. So again, like going back to the classification research, on the USPTO, you can search for dog bed, and a bunch of articles come up here. You click through them. You can click through, there's a whole bunch of different examples here. It's just like, so I guess class A01K is animal husbandry in general, especially cattle raising. Okay, that's fine. And then these sub categories here are for things like gates, removal of dung or urine, litter boxes, etc. Right? And so there's a bunch of different possibilities there. And what I'm showing here is just how you might click on some of these and look at further definitions of what's included. A10K100 is for housing animals. We look further in this, we just kind of click around different examples. And then we come to this one pretty far down there, A01K 1/0353, dog beds, right? So there's a broader class of class 035, devices for use in keeping domestic animals. It's like fittings and housings or dog beds. But if you're looking for dog beds, there actually is a classification for just that. And so then again, plug that into Google Patents, take out the space between the A01 and the K, and you get a bunch of pet beds. And then you could, you date limit it, and you look, and then you can kind of begin to look through them. There's a bunch of examples of pet beds. This one was expired in 2016. If you just kind of click through them, you find a bunch. And this one seems kind of interesting, I thought. It's a self-covering pet bed. And basically, it seems like a pet bed that either is collapsed flat or it expands, and then it has an opening that the animal can climb into. And I was like, well, that seems like a very interesting idea. Here's a full description of how that kind of works. So there's also a lot of text that comes along with this. It shows the bed expanded and collapsed. In the middle column there, it shows the different materials that you'd use to create the different parts. And then it assembled in the right column. So there's a lot of detail.
My cats would love that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my dog too.
Being able to climb inside, but also being able to just lay on it as a regular bed too. So I love that.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the point here I was making, is that my dog Gringo, he likes to dig and go inside of soft material, soft things. He kind of finds his way in there, right? By the way, can you see my slides?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or are they slow to load?
Okay. No, I can see them, and Gringo is so cute.
Yeah, he is. He's so cute. He's a catone. But anyway, and then like he's got this toy chest that he just seems to like to try and go inside of there too. So that just had me say that maybe this is a good idea. And then I did a little further searching on Amazon, and I found that there's this thing there called the cuddle cave. So apparently, other people think that that's a good idea, and you could use various tools, helium-10 or what have you, to see like, well, are they doing well with this product? And But yeah, this is just further confirmation that maybe that's a good idea. And then again, if you do want to pursue it, you've got more or less the blueprint for how to do it, and the patent's expired. So if you want to do this, it's fair game. And here's another one I found: a portable clothes dryer. It's kind of like a clothes dryer that I'm not exactly sure the practical advantage to it. But just as an example, it's like, okay, it's a clothes dryer that you use your hair dryer as a source of heat.
Oh,
And
wow.
Yeah, and so it's kind of a neat idea. I'm not sure when you would want this. Like, is it meant to be portable, or is it meant to be for someone who doesn't have a lot of space? But regardless, this patent from 1995 is expired, and if you wanted to do it, it's fair game. So now you can make this product if you want, but how do you make it your own? So I asked my friend. Well, I'll get to that in a second. So first of all, as you design into an actual product, sometimes you're going to find that it's going to have a distinctive appearance. Like, you're not going to necessarily have it look just like this. Maybe it's going to look more modern and have just a distinctive look to it. Then conceivably you can get a design patent to protect that look. That's one way to make it your own. And then also, once you're inspired by this product idea, you might actually have your own solution that's a little better and different from a functional standpoint, and then a utility patent may be available for that. So that's another way that you could make it your own. And so I asked my friend Zach from Gemma, a product design company, to do a sketch of what an actual product based on this idea might be like. And this is they did a quick rendering, and this is what they came up with. And they came up with having like the filter up there at the top there. They changed it to like a top loading type item, and and series of controls in the front panel to adjust the heat and such. So they've modified it in a certain way. It may be first of all, the design here, the look of it is definitely distinctive, so that could be a design patent. And there may be something to the functionality that was modified here that would make it patentable also. In which case, you're not infringing the original, and you may be able to patent this and make it your own. So I think that was the original question, Amy, about what you can do to kind of like improve upon something and possibly then be able to protect it. So this is an example that of how that might come about.
Yeah, because we have to be careful, right, of what's called prior art. So, if someone else had the idea first, even if that patent is expired, we have to make it our own patent different in such a way that we can make a claim that it's not basically the same idea as the first idea, right? The person who owns that
Yes.
first idea, even if it's expired.
Yeah, exactly. But in order to potentially be patentable, it has to be different in a certain way. But yeah, the original person from the original patent, they've got no claim to anything anymore. Patent's expired, their rights are exhausted. That's not even an issue anymore. But yeah, this is kind of like a matter of like, okay, so now you found the cool idea, and then you go about manufacturing it. You want to make sure that other people will come out with their own Me Too's. And so if you're able to create something that's protectable, that's a way to protect this differentiation you've created with the product that you're now selling.
Lith wants to know if he can ask a question. And yes, you absolutely can. Go ahead and throw it in the chat. We'd love to take your question. And you can go ahead, Rich, and I'll just, as soon as Lith asks the question, I'll put it up there for us.
Okay.
Are you
Okay,
still there,
but
Rich?
yeah, in the meantime, yeah, I'm still here, but I was waiting for the question. But in the meantime, So here's the bottom line, is that you find the classification areas for the product categories that interest you, spend some time going through the patent documents in those categories, and find the things that are worthy of commercialization, because not all ideas are, but that's really the process of how you go about that. And just to, let's say, I think I have a couple of final slides here, wrap up. By the way, I've got a podcast Amy's been on. So if you want to just hear more stories about um, people pursuing their ideas and making them into something, innovations and breakthroughs. And then I just have some resources for you. One is that if you want a copy of my book, I will send you one. You just need to send an email to my team with your name, your mailing address, because it's a physical book, and your phone number, because in order to ship anything, you need to put a phone number on there. But yeah, if you send an email to assist@goldsteinpc.com, I'll send you a copy of my book. But mention "amazing at home" in the subject, so that because I'm extending this offer to your audience, Amy.
That's a really awesome offer. I mean, your book covers so much in terms of patents. So I really appreciate you offering that to our audience. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. My pleasure. And I'm just looking to see if there's a question. I don't see a question yet.
Yeah, I think
And
Lith was gonna type it. Hopefully, we'll hear from
okay,
them.
sounds good. But yeah, I
um,
mean, so I don't know if you have a question or just keep chatting about this.
Yeah, so I just think I want to thank you, Rich, for coming today. This has just been really, really fascinating. Not only have I learned some new skills about searching patents and searching the USPTO database, I've learned new ways to use classifications and to use Google Patents. It's just a really neat thing. I think the biggest confusion that there is just when you patent something, your patent can, once it's granted, can be good for up to 20 years before it expires, right?
Mhm.
And design patents you mentioned are good for 14 years, you said?
Well, here's the thing. So first of all, a utility patent, it's 20 years after you apply, as opposed to after it's granted. So the filing date is what matters for the utility patent. For a design patent that you get today, it would be 15 years from when the patent's granted. So you maybe take a year or so to go through the process. Once they actually hand you the patent, then you have 15 years.
Got it. Got it. And then if we want to produce a product from an expired patent and we want to protect that product with a new patent or something other than our trademark, right? We need to, if we produce it exactly the way that it is in the patent, we're kind of safe. We have that safe harbor, right? But we
Right?
also, there's everyone else also has that safe harbor to basically do the same product, right?
Exactly.
Because
Anyone can do it. Yep, exactly.
okay. And then if we want to, if we don't care, we just want to test the market, we can make it exactly the same way without protecting it, then okay, cool, right? With our cool asparagus peeler, that seemed pretty easy to do. But with the, if we do want to protect it, then we have to change it in such a way where we're making new claims and it's, you know, a new invention. We're not able to just patent the same idea again.
Yep, exactly. So then you want to do a prior art search based upon the new idea to see, like, well, is that idea available to patent?
Exactly. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Well, I don't see
Yep.
Liz's questions, so I think we can wrap it up, Liz. And if you still have your question, you can feel free. I'll try to follow up with it afterwards. But thank you, everyone, for being here today, and thank you, Rich, for teaching us this. This is so cool. I mean, I'm definitely going to get out there. We're doing a product research challenge in our mastermind group right now, so I'm definitely going to get out there and just discover some of these things. Okay, one more question.
Awesome.
So
Yes.
a lot of times when I'm doing product research, I like to search based on a specific niche besides like, so we saw like pets or cats or whatever, right? What if I'm doing something for a specific career field? Like I'm looking for something for nurses or, that cat, well, I guess cat lovers, if I'm looking for different types of something that's targeted at a specific person, like for example, nurses.
Yeah,
it's search that way.
See, the thing is, you can't. I mean, because the patents are divided by technology at the patent office. The point is for them to be able to find similar inventions when they're searching to see if someone's new patent application, if that's new enough. So then that's what it's based upon. And essentially then, so if you're looking based upon a demographic, it's just not how things are structured. It's just not how the classification system is structured. So yeah, I don't know what you would do with that.
Got it.
But we have the question here.
I think what you could do in that case is you could search for a specific product, like, a related type of product, and then do exactly what you did with the asparagus peeler that you showed us. So I think that was just my question there, but that's okay. We can take it one step further and look for specific types of products and then start our search there. So Liz says, I filed a design patent application for a specific shape of rug. The administrator sent an attempt to reject under the idea that though my design is different in usage, that on that of the prior art online, let me see, she couldn't grant the pattern because of the drawings in the application doesn't show the texture that could differentiate my design from prior art. Is there something that can be done in that case?
Okay, well, first of all, this is very specific, and you just have to consider that this is not legal advice. Like, legal advice is about what you do in a specific situation, and like, I would need to know a lot more in order to give legal advice, and it's also not free. but the point is like the danger of anytime like you ask a question, don't take it as legal advice because there's always deeper to dig into the specific situation to know what to do. So first of all, just some general principles here, though, that the rug or the design patent is about the look. It's about the ornamental appearance. So having a different function is generally not going to matter for a design patent. And you can't add new matter to a patent application after it's been filed. So if there's something you're like, oh, but wait, my product had this, we didn't have it in the application, but we want to add it in response to the rejection, you can't add new matter later. Really, the only thing you can do in most of the situations like that is to file a new patent application. But if you file a new patent application, it's going to have a new date to it, and hopefully there's no events or prior art that would get in the way of you issuing it. So like if the product has been on sale, maybe you put the product on sale 2 years ago and you applied for a patent. Now you have this rejection to deal with. If you applied now a new application with a new filing date, it would be too late, because if it's not filed within a year of making it public, then you've missed. So the only thing that you generally could do if there's not a feature that's shown in the original drawings is to file a new application. So, and hopefully you're not barred from doing so.
And what I would recommend in the case of rugs, right? Because a rug is a pretty common product, and there's other ways to protect your design. So you can protect your design with copyrights. You can protect your design with contracts with your suppliers, right? Making sure that you have a really good lockdown contract with your supplier where your supplier is not, I actually sell rugs and my designs are unique. I created my designs. but I don't do design patents for those. I just have really good contracts with my suppliers so that they're not selling my designs to anyone else. And then my brand is trademarked. So in the case of a rug, you may want to look at other ways to protect your design instead of going down the path of a design patent. But, you know, especially if you're getting so much pushback, it might not be worth it for the amount of revenue you're missing out on just not selling the product, right? I don't know, but that's what I would recommend, because I actually am in the rug market. So hopefully that helps with. Thank you, Rich, for providing that non-legal advice. That's good information to have. Well, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I want to thank Rich for giving us this great information. And thanks everyone for the questions, even the tough ones. We appreciate them as always. And yeah, hopefully if you guys catch the replay, take advantage of Rich's offer for his book. That's going to be a really great offer for you guys. And some of your questions might be answered in that book as well. So take advantage of that. And yeah, definitely. All right, Rich, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week on the Seller Roundtable.
Happy holidays. Take care.
Bye.